Hi guys and welcome, as this will be the video tutorial for Crane Mate, also known as Erector. This is a remake of the 80s toy, as Hasbro never did it in the new toy lines. So this is intended to create something more modern, and at the same time we added gimmicks, or at least one added gimmick. So let's start right away with the Micromaster that comes with it, which is in itself Erector. So it's a little cab. There's nothing special about it in the way that it should look to you like a cab or a truck unit, whatever you want to call it. The legs are the back part. The arms are, the hold the wheels, let's say, in a similar way that the original did. And the cab itself is not symmetrical, which is the same as what the old toy was. And the head is just hidden in there like the old toy did as well. Now, for assembly, arms are as usual on a ball joint, if this focuses. Arms are as usual on a ball joint. Wheels get glued on. On the back. There is just a little bit of filament on the knee, and then the head simply has its own pegs, so there is no need for filament, and it just goes in these grooves, and then you should be able to fold it. Oops. My Erector is a bit loose now because I've been playing around with it quite a bit for a while now. The arms were the first thing that I designed and printed and never changed. The legs are supposed to peg together as well, but again, they got quite loose after doing it several times during testing phase. So yeah, I probably sanded it down a bit too much throughout play. And to notice is that the legs have a groove and a notch, and that's where the trailer, you will have these two sections here that hold the chest piece for robo mode, and then there is a hole in there. I left the Autobot logo there just because I'm lazy, but there is a spot here to put it in trailer mode so that it's gonna look gorgeous. And to connect it, you simply want this guy in cab mode, and you want to make sure that legs are together, and then you align everything and push, and there you have it. If it goes through correctly, it should stick together without problems, and you can pull the trailer. There's not much wiggle room to turn around or anything, but I think the old toy didn't either. I didn't have the old toy, so I'm doing this all by going through photos that I got from internet. So yeah, that's all. The assembly of the trailer is obviously a bit more complicated, but we can go through some parts. So let's start from the crane. The crane can be separated from the main body because it becomes the gun and becomes the cannon for combat mode as well. So there are filament there and there, and for the handle here. And that's all really that you need to know about this. So that's accessory aside. Now for the main body, it's possible to let's say separate the arms for assembly, because that's easier to do. Same goes for the legs. My parts, some of them are from prototyping, so they're not perfect, but I glue them. They're fit for purpose for the matter of transformation. Will I reprint them? Probably not. I tend not to reprint my prototypes. I know that they're fixed in the final version in the files, and I know that you guys can print them in much better quality. But as you can see, there is a lot of parts and a little bit of gluing required. Mostly is filament throughout. And new for this figure, I'm using what I call Lego technique pegs to hold things in place so that they can also rotate. I have a bigger, better version of it here where this part rotates, but it doesn't come apart easily. So that, yeah, everything feels nice and secure. But I will still be careful once you assemble them to, flip this around with a bit of delicate touch. Other than that, the figure is, once it's in trailer mode, it's nice and solid. Once it's in rubber mode, it's nice and solid. So I'm quite happy with how it came out. So to start transforming this in battle mode, you want to pull the arms back. And as we transform things, I'm also gonna show the assembly of them. So pull the arms up, and you want to make sure that you fold them up at this angle and then push down again so that gray parts are flat there. And as you can see, these already want to open up. So you want this panel to rotate like this, and then this to come down, and this to come up. And that's supposed to be like a lamp kind of thing. Same on the other side. Open down, flip this part, flip this up, flip this down. So as I mentioned, the arms, as you can see, there is this shoulder bit that has actually a sliding motion. There is just filament going through there. The arms, we're gonna see when they open up. The fists are in the air. There is just filament. You can see from here there is filament through this part that can fold away in rubber mode, but otherwise that's the arms transformed for battle mode. For this part, you want to turn this around because we will have the cannon sitting here, so this part doesn't have to be folded out for battle mode. And then we have the other cannon hiding in here. Now, it should be easy enough to fold it out while it's transformed still in trailer mode, but if you find it difficult, feel free to undo this armature and turn it around and then pick it back together. So here we have the battle mode. It should situate itself fairly well, but again, I played around with this quite a bit, so it's already coming loose from the prototyping and everything, but your copy should be fairly solid. Turning this guy into rubber mode, you want to undo the legs completely and peg them into the front of the cab, flip the head up, and now you can have Erector man the cannons. So yeah, loose parts, right? So Erector can actually sit here and man the cannons. Or you can have some other bodies hang around the base. We got my prototype for tank guy here. And, I don't know, use this shields as defense. You can close it up, it's up to you what you want to do with it. But, there's options. And this pretty much is the battle mode from the old toy as well. It kind of looked like this. The back panel was a bit thinner, but obviously I need to put the arms somewhere, so it is what it is. But you know, I tried to replicate this part with the platform, the opening of the panels, the cannon, and this smaller cannon kind of thing to a T. So from an assembly point of view, you obviously have some filament that go through all the way through the armature to hold this. These parts are glued together, kind of similar to how the chest for Chad works, where the two parts are coming together to clamp on a peg that exists on the, let's call it, shield part. Wheels, they actually peg into it and they can turn, obviously not freely, but they can turn. And this is again what I call the Lego technique, let's call it mushroom peg, that can hold things without them falling apart easily, but allows them to turn. And the armature here that holds the platform together with the legs, it's got a lot of filament in it, 1 and 2. But then this bit here again is one of those Lego pegs, let's call them. I don't know the real name for it, so I'm gonna call them that way. Otherwise, as you can see, there is 5mm pegs here to hold the arms down when it's in track mode, and they will be used again when this armature flips over to become the backpack for the robot mode. So yeah, I've been trying to be cleverly using the same stuff to keep everything, you know, as simple as possible. What else there is to say about this mode? We're gonna see the legs and everything as we turn into robot mode, so let's get on with it. So let's take this apart. Now for robot mode, you want to take this guy, and the front part is going to be the same as track mode, while the legs peg again back here. But now you want to fold the legs 90 degree at the knee and then 90 degree at the hip, and so it becomes this sort of compact powermaster mode. I've been calling them core masters for my blokes, so that's what I'm gonna go by for this toy as well. So this is core master mode for the robot mode for crane mate. And then let's start with this guy. So the arms are already undone, so we can just fold everything again, fold this back up, and fold this back up for now. Same on the other side, fold everything back, fold it back up, but this time we're gonna fold them out and butterfly open them like that. This gray panel can fold down. Be careful because this part is a bit fragile and I've been breaking them a little bit. I blame the plastic, by the way. My yellow has been very bad. I dried it a few times as well, and it's still very fragile. There is other parts that I've done that are just as thin and they don't break all the time like this one, so not sure about that. And I glued it a couple of times as well, so it's been a bit of a pain. But just be careful, please. So those panels fold down. This flaps all the way around so that that part sits on top, and then this folds all the way down flush with that panel. Same on the other side. Oh, yeah. So this is where I was saying that things can open up and be apart, so it's easy to show actually the transformation and the assembly. So as you can see, there is a long peg hole there so that this thing can slide in and out. There's a mushroom peg there, so mine is loose and that's why things are falling apart. There is filament here for this panel. There is filament, these pegs together, filament, and these pegged together without any assist. Now there's filament here, and this part can fold back, or it should fold back all the way, but this part is stressing somewhere and I don't want to push it further. This panel opens up and this rolls out, and the first wants to be rotated 180 as well. So effectively, when you transform it again, make sure that the thumb is facing up so that it fits nicely in there. So again, out, and then this groove, this notch will go into the groove of the mushroom peg transformation, like that, so that everything is flush. Now this is the interesting part. The elbow is hidden in here, so we need to pull it out, and it's a bit tough the first times, and I've not done this enough because it's a new part that I've been recently changing. So let me do it off the camera just so I can use full force. Just a second. Be right back. Okay, so I managed to pull it out, and I'm gonna actually show you the whole thing. So we said this is all on filament pegs. The rest is on mushroom peg, so it just pushes through. This is also mushroom peg, but you will have a part here on the forearm that you need to glue down to be able to turn it. This is actually glued too well, but yeah, you can, as you can see, the arm can have a swivel there, and the elbow has a bend as well, but not too much, so don't force it too much. And this part here is my design for, let's call it this piston movement and this assembly. So effectively, all you have to do to assemble this part is to hook it up, push it through, and then it will be, you know, it's not gonna fall apart unless you really bend it that way. So yeah, you have to be careful when you bend for the elbow that it doesn't pop out, but at the same time, it leaves you with, you know, a nice pistol movement that doesn't require having this part being in two parts that otherwise they will need to be glued together. Let's situate that shoulder so that I can assemble this again on the main body like this, and then collapse the arm so that it doesn't, you know, go anywhere, and you can still use the shoulder movement without problems, but at least it's not gonna fall apart. So the other side is the same. Flip, flip, flip. Flip the elbow. Boom. Then we need to, sorry, I'm gonna do this again off camera just in case. Okay, this one behaved a bit better. I think I transformed it a couple of times more. So again, situate everything and push the shoulder back into place so everything is open and ready for the rest of the body. Now we take the cannon away because that's going to be the gun. Fold this back up. This is going to stay here for a second. In fact, we can open it up already, and that's going to be the head and neck. And then you want to pull the legs away from this armature. And now I'm going to show you what you need to do with this. So before we do this part, let's go back to the top. Now you want this to look like this, and then this is going to fall down. So you have this top, let's call it top hinges, I actually put one solid piece of filament here so that they move together. It's easier that way, otherwise they start flopping around too much. And then there is filament that goes through the body. So you want to do that before you put the arms on, because otherwise it's more difficult to reach. But you can still reach it by, folding the arms away if it happens. So anyway, for robo mode, you want to fold this back in line like that. But you might also want to put your core master in at this point in time, because the legs fit barely through and the arms are also a constraint. So it becomes a game of fitting things through and making this peg into place with the legs going under those notches like that, and then everything should stay nice and secure. Again, my legs keep coming apart because they're being abused, but yours should be nice and secure. Now fold this down. Yep. I'll deal with that in a moment. Fold this down, and then this panel you want to fold it down so that these smaller hinges stay almost 90° to that panel. And in theory, this is just good enough to fit around the cab that way, so that if you're lucky, it kind of locks it in place as well. Mine again has been fiddled with a bit too much to do that, but yeah, it kind of does it. So nothing moves anymore. I'll deal with that arm in a second. I think the filament just snapped on me, so that's unlucky. But let's move on to the legs. So extend the legs is the first step, so that they're out of the way for this armature. And then you want to make sure that this black bit here, you bend the armature 90° forward. The first times, again, it'll be a bit hard to do, but it will go through without problems after a wee while. And then, as this thing is designed to slide, you can see the filament there slides forward. Now, I suggest that at this point, you align your parts so that these notches go on the shoulder. Sorry about that. I needed to go answer the door. So we were talking about this armature. So there are these notches on, camera moved. Notches on the shoulders here. They need to align with that. And then we have 5mm pegs that align with that. So the best way, I think, is to leave it a bit loose, align it from the top, and make sure that everything is in line. And then you start squishing the same way on both sides so that nobody gets hurt. So that is starting to come together. 5mm peg is starting to come together. Then you squish down and the armature moves on its own. So that's it, pegged together, nice and secure. Nothing moves anymore. We're all done. The neck just pegs down, nice and easy. Face reveal up here. This bit here is also a bit frail, but you know, with a little bit of nice delicate touch. I wouldn't push this bit too hard down, but you know, depends how loose your copy is. Now for the legs. As you extend the legs, you will notice that it should reach a point where this yellow panel can then close to hold it steady and not move anymore. Mine is a bit of a pain because, again, prototype, so sometimes it doesn't want to do it, but there is a groove in the leg. If you can, no, you cannot see because of the other leg. There's a groove in the leg where the black tie fits in, which is along this line here. So in this case, there is two parts for the leg that go around that will need to be glued. And then that yellow panel just goes in with some filament. The knee is a mushroom peg, so it needs to be put inside that combination there. But to be able to bend the knee, I made it so that you can extend it. So effectively, it does have a little movement here to give it some posability. But otherwise, you probably just wanted to keep it there. The wheels should turn around like that a little bit. And then you put the foot back forward. And as you can see, there is filament that holds things together for the knee, for the ankle, and for the toes. And then there's filament for the skirt flaps. So effectively, if you move the leg forward, you can do so without problem by moving the skirt away. The other side, same as the first, that one is collaborating a bit more. So you want to move that yellow panel like that to hold the leg in place. Something to mention about this leg panel and the gray panels on the shoulder is that I did put some notches here so that when you open it, it should hold in place without trouble. And the same here is on the tie. I have put some notches that help keep the door closed or open depending on the transformation. So again, flip around, toes out, done. And that's pretty much transformation done. We lost an arm, but that's not a problem for now. I'll fix it in a second. And then we have the gun. Gun has a 5mm peg. Hand is a 5mm peg hole. And you just put it in there. And then the arm should be able to hold it up because it's not that heavy. And there you have it. Crane made in rubber mode. Yeah, prototype with loose parts is always a pain. So I wanted to record this right away because I knew that it was gonna be a pain. Especially if I did it like a month down the line. So yeah, this is not a bit front heavy with the gun forward, but here we have it. Crane made. So yeah, this is crane made, transformed in all modes, and I explained throughout the video how to assemble it with the various parts. I will start from the core body to put together the front and to make the chest armature work. Although at the same time, if you do that, then it's gonna flop around all the time while you're doing all the other assembly. The back with the head part is also an easy one to put together first. Once you're all happy, make sure that these parts are, you know, moving freely and all that kind of stuff, so that you know, the transformation is going to be smooth. You want the cannon here. This technically could be used in robot mode in a way, if you really want to have a shooting backside. So yeah, I consider for a moment putting a 5mm peggle on the crotch for the laughs, but that didn't make it to production, let's say. And yeah, it's just a matter of having this in the mode that you prefer. I like the robot mode and the details that I put in it, but I understand that most people might just want an updated track or battle mode from, you know, reminiscing the times when they played with it when they were kids. So let me know what is your favorite mode, either on Crop Studio page, on the comments on YouTube, or anything really. I'm present on TikTok as well as Crop Studio. I'm present on Cults as Mel in the Sky, and that's where the files for this guy are gonna be. And as I said, this is a prototype. It's got some faults, and yeah, I really wanted to show you to guys, so it's not 100% perfect. There are parts that I would probably reprint if I wanted it to be perfect, but otherwise, you know, the files do work. You just need to be a little bit careful because, as usual, you know, PLA is not the most amazing strong plastic. If you want to, you can have some parts printed maybe in PETG to make them a bit sturdier. But otherwise, I hope you enjoy this. I hope you're gonna enjoy any of my other designs. I have a few ideas for future projects as well, including Captain Carry that needs to be done now. With my new printer, I find it more reliable, and I think I'll be able to, you know, do that project justice. And yeah, otherwise, this has been CraneMate. I hope you enjoyed it. Catch you later.